Hey everybody, and welcome to our early comics review video. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are coming out this week. They're coming out Wednesday to your local comic book store, or if you shop with us at infinityflux.net, they'll be screaming through the mail on their way to your little porches everywhere.
I'm in the mail.
Yeah, it's like their cheeks are
Yeah,
getting
right.
pushed back and everything. Some great books coming out this week, so go ahead on over there and go ahead and order the books that you think you'll like because supplies are limited, and every week by the time like Wednesday rolls around, we're already out of some things because everyone is so awesome and orders from us. But also, I know there's some sad little puppies and kittens out there that didn't get to read the
Yep.
comics they wanted to because they weren't fast enough. You slow puppies and
Right.
kittens. So, all that being said, to go ahead and get an early jump on that at infinityflux.net. Whether you're local to the store or you shop online, you have it mailed to us, either way, you get it first.
Mhm.
So, a big show this week, some big books coming out.
Big books.
Some number ones and some kind of conclusions to storylines, which I really like. It kind of was a nice mesh of stuff. But let's kick it off with, I think, one of our favorite books this week.
Yeah, Red Hulk #1. I have been excited for this one since it was announced, and I was not disappointed.
Since
I
we
really
kind of knew about it before it was announced.
yeah, we found out a little bit ahead of time, and yeah, so super excited. This was great. Written by Benjamin Percy, the art is by Jeff Shaw, and the first several pages of this book give us some really cool Red Hulk action. I don't really want to tell you what it is specifically though, because it kind of spoils the story, even though it's at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
But I won't tell you too much about it. But
it's a cold open.
yeah, it's a cold open. But when we get to the meat and potatoes of the story, we see that General Ross is in an underground cell in what I'm assuming is Latveria. We didn't
Yeah.
really say for sure, but I'm assuming it's Latveria because he is being held captive by Doctor Doom. And we also see that being held captive are Deathlock and Machine Man and a couple of other characters as well. And that's not a spoiler to tell you that because that's been in the
It's on
solicitation.
the cover of number 2.
Yeah, so no big spoilers there. And it's unclear how long Doctor Doom has been holding all of these characters captive, but he's doing so because they are master strategists and tacticians, and Doom is using them essentially to play war games. Going through different scenarios of how would I take down this country, and how would I cause unrest over here? Just scenarios, random
Yeah.
scenarios. Nothing's actually happening yet, but going through different scenarios. And most of this is actually a really cool Prison Break story.
Yeah.
Which we don't get a whole lot of Red Hulk in this other than those first few pages, but the rest of it is a good Prison Break story. I love a good Prison Break story, and based on the way the issue ends, I do think that we are going to get a lot more Red Hulk action next issue. I'll say that. But yeah, it's a lot of it is just General Ross trying to get himself and the other characters out of these cells and away from wherever it is they are, trying
Yeah.
to stop Doctor Doom, however it is they might do that. And we still don't even, like I said, we don't know what Doom's plans are. We don't know, is he going to use one of these scenarios to try
Or
to
is this
take
just
down?
like a contingency plan? Is he just like, I just
Yeah.
like to know my options?
Yeah, it's weird because in One World Under Doom #1, he was very adamant. It's like I'm not going to mess with any of the nations. I just don't want them to go to war with each other. But everything else is staying exactly the same. But in this book, it's like, well, he's running through different scenarios. So yeah, maybe it's like a backup plan in case
Yeah.
the Avengers stop me. I need to have some backup plan. So lots to uncover. We still don't have a lot of answers yet as to exactly why this is all happening, but it is really cool that it's happening, especially with the way the book ends. I can't wait for the next one. So yeah, very happy to have Red Hulk back. We also have Red Hulk over in the Captain America Sam Wilson book, but that is the other Red Hulk. I think it's Robert Maverick, something
like that,
Maverick.
yeah.
This is the true blue Thaddeus Ross from the movie, but from comics way before that. Just Red Hulk is back, and it's awesome. I really, really liked this quite a bit.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff in here, like the prison break stuff. Like how the different prisoners communicate to each other
Mm-hmm.
while they're in this prison is really interesting.
Because they're not in the same cell. I mean, they're
Yeah,
completely different
it even
cells.
shows like kind of a diagram where they are and how like spread out they are
Yeah,
in this place.
yeah.
That's all really cool.
And the prison break does not happen overnight. It's over the course of time, and it's just really cool to see it play
Yeah,
out.
and I think also going to mention they do mention like since he's been captive for so long, he has kind of lost some of his power
Yeah.
because he is like kind of malnourished and
Right.
everything.
Right.
When you see Thunderbolt Ross, he's pretty grizzled looking. You
Yeah.
know, he's seen better days, and so I think it's also going to be cool to maybe see Red Hulk powering up to
Yeah.
like his full potential
Yeah.
at some point. But yeah, I am super excited about this. I'm really glad. I believe this is an ongoing.
I
Um,
thought it was just a miniseries.
I
I
thought
want it to be an ongoing. I thought it was just like a five
I thought
issue.
what I remember reading is that the first story arc is part of the One World Under Doom,
Okay.
but it will kind of make its own path after that.
I hope so. Yeah, with this creative team because the artwork was really
Yeah.
good. The story was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love this. I love Red Hulk all the way back from the Jeff Loeb,
Yeah.
Ed McGuinness. It's one of the best runs of Hulk and most beautiful runs of Hulk.
Hmm.
And Red Hulk is a character that like was going pretty strong. He had some weird storylines, that kind of stuff. But I mean, last time we saw him, it's been years since he's really had a spotlight on him.
Yeah, I mean, General Ross popped up in, I think, the 2019 Captain America run. There was a whole plot of they thought Captain America murdered him,
Mm,
but Red Hulk
yeah.
it's been a long time since we've seen General Ross Red Hulk do anything. So,
Yeah, exactly. So I hope this spells a new dawn for
yeah.
Red Hulk, and we can keep this going. I'd love to see him, eventually maybe make his way into guest starring in the Avengers book, or
Yeah.
like get reincorporated
Mhm.
into the Marvel
Yeah.
universe as a whole. And during One World Under Doom, I would love for him to be part of like this resistance or
Yeah.
something that rises up against Doom.
Yeah.
But yeah, all that being said, great first issue, and I'm really looking forward to the future of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, really, really enjoyed this one a lot. So this is our A cover right here, and we got some really cool variants. We have the Todd Knock variant. We have the red sketch variant. We have the Art of Marvel Studios variant with, Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Ross, Red Hulk there. This is our John Romita Jr. variant. We have a Captain America Brave New World variant. You got to have your Frank Miller variant of Red Hulk smashing through a bunch of pebbles, I guess. Yeah. This is the really cool Adam Kubert foil variant. I love this one. The Hulk is not foil; it's just everything around him, so he really pops off
That's
the
the
cover
one I
there.
ordered.
Yeah. And then we have some incentives too. We have the 1 in 25 In Hyuk Lee variant that we're selling for $14.99. I really like that one a lot. And then we have a 1 in 100 Frank Miller Virgin variant that we're selling for $79.99.
He
And
looks
we
like an angry kid on a playground who just kicked all the gravel.
right. And then we have another 1 in 100 John Romita Jr. Virgin variant that we're selling for $84.99.
Yeah. Once people read that, they'll understand what we mean about the beginning, the cold open,
Yeah.
and you will really appreciate that they did have that in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It
fantastic.
starts off on a great note. Okay, so this is Absolute Wonder Woman #5. So that was a #1 beginning of the story. This is the end of the first story arc of Absolute Wonder Woman. Not the end. I feel like we say it every time. It's not the end of the Absolute Wonder Woman series. These are ongoing series, but the end of this first maiden voyage for Absolute Wonder Woman, which has mostly been centered around the Tetracide, this giant Cthulhu-like beast that has risen up and about to attack Gateway City. All the while, we also get flashbacks to this Absolute Wonder Woman's upbringing and some of her past. Well, in this one, we see that her big attack on the Tetracide last time with her giant anime sword did some damage, but not good enough.
Yeah. And this issue made the last issue better for me. I was a little disappointed last issue because I thought she killed it. I was like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
But no, It's still up and running. It's still going.
Yeah, no, it's still a big threat, and it becomes even bigger of a threat when the military starts launching missiles at it, and it bats them away
Yeah, it starts launching them back.
and
Yeah,
turns them back on the
yeah.
city, and that's a great scene where Wonder Woman and needed some help from something else to turn the tide of those missiles. Um, but Wonder Woman pretty much at this point feels pretty spent. Like she's got her bag of tricks, but she's running out of stuff. She's tired. But we do get a flashback to another time where she was on when she was in Hades and she received another one of her lassos. And this is a very interesting lasso. And I can't talk about this issue in too much detail because it is the kind of wrap up of this story. And you really need to experience what happens. But when we do see this lasso, its abilities are pretty vague. Even so much as you see her use it, but you don't see the effects of it. But you just see how it affects her
Hmm.
and her feelings about having to use this. But maybe this is a last resort fighting the Tetracide. But there is a twist to everything. And a pretty shocking thing happens to Wonder Woman that I won't spoil, but definitely I don't know if anyone ever saw coming. And it is something that I don't think we've ever seen Wonder Woman do before.
I have it in my notes. I was like, I have never seen Wonder Woman do that ever.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident in that, or at least if it has, it wasn't of her own volition. Like she did this thing on
yeah.
her own, and I've never seen that.
And so this actually, what I think is really cool about it, what she does, hopefully we see more about the consequences of this, the ramifications
Yep.
of this, and is this a new something that she can do more?
Or
Um,
will she want to do it more, or she's like, ah, that was enough. I'm not doing
Yeah.
that again.
I'll say there's a great moment with Steve Trevor in this. And yes, this does wrap up the Tetracide story in a pretty satisfying way. Um, there's not much time for celebration for many reasons, but not much time for celebration before she is almost literally ripped away on another adventure. And you will have to read and find out. But we saw in some solicitations about the next big threat she's going up against, like, partly is like the world of man and like the military and all of that as she kind of gets reincorporated into regular life
Yeah.
and something about like maybe a maze she's going to be going on.
Hmm.
So I can't wait to see what is coming next in Absolute Wonder Woman. But this one, I think will have people talking because of some big stuff right at the end. And yeah, this really, I feel like now this is a great singular volume
Oh yeah.
that tells a complete story, and I'm really appreciative of that. That you get a lot of story, backstory, surprises, all of that in a single package. And yeah, can't wait for what's next. But that is Wonder Woman number 5, Absolute Wonder Woman number 5. We've got some variants, of course, for this, but not many because, like I said, we sell out
Already
of
sold
stuff
out. Yeah.
fast, so we do not have much left. We have this beautiful Omer cover. I don't think we have many of these left. It has a cool anime
I
style
love
to
that.
it.
Yeah.
We also have this 1 in 25. This is the Mike Perkins variant. We're selling for $12.99. Another very cool one. And lastly, we have the Virgin version of the Omer cover. It is a 1 in 50. We're selling for $34.99.
Well, I have another big one that's kind of an end to a story, but also not. This is Ultimate Spider-Man number 14. Now, I do want to issue a spoiler warning for the previous issue, number 13. If you haven't read it and you absolutely do not want to be spoiled with what happened in that, maybe click the next timestamp and go ahead and skip on ahead to the next video. Um, because that issue was awesome, and I want you to experience that for yourself as you read it. But if you have read it, stick around because we're going to talk about it. So this issue starts with a really cool sequence between Peter's son Richard, who is still wearing the Picotech suit, and also the new Black Cat.
Mm-hmm.
And not a whole lot happens there, but they do spend some time together, chatting and things like that. And it just makes me curious as to where that pairing is going to
We
go.
learn each of their ages, and
Yeah,
they're pretty close in
yeah,
age. So I do kind of like that maybe they're setting this Black Cat up with him instead, since
maybe,
Peter's
yeah,
married and everything.
yeah,
We'll have to see, but they have more in common
yeah.
than they have different.
Yeah, it was a great little sequence, but it didn't last long because most of the issue is Peter and Harry in the Savage Land on the run from Craven. And I remember in when we read 13, we were thinking, well, each book is in a different month. It ages in real time. So how long will they have been in there? But some viewers helped me realize that last issue it said it was January 31st, and this issue said it was February 1st. So I guess they've only been there a day or two.
Okay.
So that helps because I was thinking, have they been on the run for like a week or 3 weeks or a month? So
They have you can tell some time has passed in here because they've done some stuff
yeah,
that have kind of made them a little bit more rugged
yeah.
and Savage Land able.
Yeah. But basically, it's Peter and Harry on the run from Craven all through the Savage Land. And I can't really tell you anything more than that, though, because there's a lot of big things that happen in this that I definitely want you to experience for yourself as you're reading it. But I will say that there is some really good action.
Yep.
We get just a really cool Peter Parker in this. Like this is the Peter Parker that I want in all of my Spider-Man books. Peter in this is really cool, very take charge and that kind of thing.
Yeah, very heroic
Yeah,
and very like good strategist
yeah,
and like you know, I don't know. You'll
yeah,
have to read it to see what we mean, but there's a
yeah,
great scene with him
yeah,
kind of taking
yeah,
charge.
yeah. There's one page in particular, and I texted him, it's like that's what I want. That's what I
Yeah.
always want Peter to be like. Now I will say also that there is something major that happens in this book. I'm definitely not going to tell you what it is, but please try to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
The spoilers for this will probably hit the internet on Tuesday or very early on Wednesday. So please try to avoid spoilers because I know they will hit very soon, and you don't want to have this spoiled for you because it's major. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think I didn't. Yeah, I just didn't think.
I read this book before you did,
Yeah,
and I texted you like,
read it now.
make
Yeah,
this the first one you
yeah,
read
yeah,
because there's something so big in it that we have to. I've got to talk to you about
yeah, yeah.
my theories about what just happened.
Yeah, for sure. So that's all we'll say about it. Just something big. Please try to avoid spoilers. But I think this issue is every bit as good as the last issue. And I remember saying about the last issue that it's in the running for best issue of the series so far.
Yep.
And this definitely is also in the running for best issue of the series so far. This series is only getting better and better and better. I also mentioned last issue that the first 12 issues have been kind of a slow burn, but issue 13 really sped things up, really picked up the pace. And I think that based on the way this ends, I think that this series is going to keep that pace
Hmm.
for the foreseeable future because things are happening now. Things are really
Yeah.
happening. And it's awesome. So the artwork, Marco Cicchetto killing it on this. I love it. This may be my pick of the week. I'm not sure between this and Red Hulk and maybe Absolute Wonder Woman, but like our top, this is huge. This is awesome. So definitely do not miss this. And again, please try to avoid spoilers. You don't
Yeah,
want to be
and
spoiled.
we talked about the next issue coming out on our
Yeah,
previous show, and it's like the Parkers go on vacation. After you finish this, you will see the solicitation for that issue in a different
in a different
light.
light, right? Yeah, for sure. So I can't sing the praises of this highly enough. I love this issue. All right, so there is our A cover right here. We have the Asrar variant with Mole Man and Spider Man on it right there. And then we have this really nice 1 in 25. Darn it, I don't have the artist. Do you know the
Uh,
artist on that?
is that Terry Dodson? I believe that's Terry Dodson.
No, it's Garner. Garner? I can't quite tell. But anyway, it's really, really nice. Apologies to the artist. It's a 1 in 25 that we're selling for $14.99. Very Valentine's Day ish, even though that was a week ago, a couple
But
weeks
it
ago.
is the February issue.
True. Yeah.
So
Yeah. A phenomenal issue of Ultimate Spider Man.
yeah, I cannot wait for the next issue and the next issue of that because I don't know. It felt like a turning point issue
Yep.
of just the story as a whole.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the omnibus. I mean, we're still a couple of years away from that, but when that omnibus comes out,
Oof.
that is going to be a amazing volume of just awesome Spider-Man
Yeah.
to read. Yeah.
So next up, I've got one. Uh, that I really want to talk about. This is Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Adaptation number 1. I made a lot of notes on this, and I begin by saying I highly recommend this. This is adapted by Jody Houser, and the art is by Will Sliney. And I know I am deep. I am over my head in Star Wars world. Like that's takes up a majority of my day when I'm not here is Star Wars related things. And I am know about people's in general feelings about Rise of Skywalker. I from absolutely hate it too. It's got some good bits in it. It runs the gamut on people's opinions, but it is a very what is it when things pull apart? Not alienating, but
Polarizing.
polarizing movie. All that being said, this I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you should read. Um, so this is really cool. We talked about it leading into like when we're doing the our preview show or the early order show for this comics from the future that I mentioned that I heard like, oh, this has got some extra scenes in it. It's got you know, kind of fleshes out the story a little bit more, and I think that is such a cool selling point of this because I don't need to tell you too much about the story if you've seen the movie. All of that. This is an adaptation of episode 9. But some key things in this it is not a shot for shot reinterpretation, adaptation of that, like I believe kind of the Ahsoka
Ahsoka Mandalorian was that way.
Mandalorian was
Yeah.
like that. The Obi-Wan comic was like that. And not that it's a bad thing, but I do know a lot of feeling was, well, I can just watch the show.
Yeah.
You know, this is cool to have it, but you know, this is a little bit different. Now it follows generally, you know, the same pacing and things. I do think there is some scenes that are cut out for this and some scenes that are added in. But instead of it being like, yep, that's the camera shot from that scene, this Will Sliney does a great job of the pages have more of a comic book feel to them. So there will be a scene where Ray is like levitating, and it's split down the middle where the left side is Ray and the right side is
Mm.
younger Leia, and it's
Oh,
comparing
okay.
their training and
Yeah.
all of that. Other things in here is there is internal dialogue, mostly in this issue from Ray, which is really cool because it's further explaining her experiences so far. Um, a key moment I really liked was when they're looking for the Sith Wayfinder to take them to Exegol and all of that. They find out, oh, it's in you need to find Ochi of Bastoon's ship, which if you know you're reading Darth Vader and that kind of stuff, he's appeared in a lot of those things. What's cool about this is Ray makes the note of why does his ship look familiar? Why does his face seem familiar? Well, if you know, he was part of the reason she was abandoned, and they never explore that in the movie. But if you read the novelization or the book Shadow of the Sith, it's like a prequel to this. It fills in a lot of those gaps of
Huh.
like,
I didn't know. I didn't know any of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she internally goes like, that's why this is going on and that kind of stuff. That's really really cool. It's very natural. All of that. Um, like I said, there's the unique structure that comics allow where Ray does have like kind of visions of her parents, of Dark Ray when she's all in black. Before you ever see it in the comic, there's kind of a as she's meditating, you see all that. There is flashbacks even back to A New Hope of Leia, which is really cool. There is an added scene with Leia and Rose that was I think was supposed to be it was a deleted scene, but it fleshes out Rose for this story a little bit better. And what is really cool is when we meet Lando in the movie, we learn, oh, he was also looking for the Sith Wayfinder with Luke, and then Luke ended up leaving. Um, but you actually see a flashback to that of Lando and Luke younger as they were out on this mission together, and it just fills in like what a comic would do. Some flashback sequences and all of that. We get more scenes of Rey training and how she learned to do certain things, and my biggest note is this feels more like an adaptation of the novelization of the movie, which is really good and does have give some ideas chances to breathe and some internal dialogue and all of that, rather than a shot-for-shot adaptation of the movie. So highly recommend this. Even if you weren't the biggest fan of Rise of Skywalker, I think this will at least like you'll see it from some different angles that are really really cool. So all that, just say I really really like this. There is your A cover. We also have some really nice variants. So we have this Muir variant with Palpatine. We've got a really nice Brian Stelfreeze cover. It's very like movie poster. We've got a Ken Lashley Black History Month variant with Lando. We've got an amazing photo cover with Ray. And I believe that is all we had. I don't think this book, I think originally like this one and another cover was supposed to be an incentive, and now they made them all open order. So,
so no incentives for that?
No incentives.
Interesting. All right, well, next up, I've got The Seasons #2 from Rick Remender and Paul Azaceta. And this issue introduces us to the other two Seasons sisters. We meet Winter Seasons. Is it season? Winter Seasons. Seasons. Plural. Yeah. Winter Seasons.
It's hard when it's a name.
Yeah, right. That's what I was trying to think. Am I winter, spring? Yeah, seasons, plural. Yeah. So we meet Winter Seasons in this, who actually lives in the same house as Spring. Spring is the main character that we spent last issue with, and after reading Autumn's letter last issue warning Spring about this mysterious circus coming to town, Spring rushes home to and tells her sister Winter, and it's hard to do because they're actual seasons, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard to. But she rushes home and says, "Hey, Winter, I just read this letter from Autumn. We got to get out of here now." But Winter is a bit of a moody painter, and basically she just she tells Spring to get lost. This, I don't have time for this. I'm painting, I'm creating, get out of here, right? So we also meet the fourth season's sister, which is Summer. She is an actor and a total diva, and she is on set of her new movie, and surrounded by paparazzi. And it's funny because like all the crew is waiting for her and she's just like talking to paparazzi, and it's like the middle of the day, the sun is bright, but she's like, the lighting's not right, we're gonna have to do this later. So total diva. But one of the members of the paparazzi asks her, "Hey, Summer, did you hear about the new circus, the new carnival coming to town? Are you going to be at the premiere?" And it's obvious that Summer had not heard of that at all. But of course, she's a diva. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm totally going to be there for sure." Which I think is interesting because this is the kind of, I don't know if it's evil, but this is the evil circus that's coming to town. So that's maybe setting up something, some not so great things to happen for Summer. And we do see a little bit more of Autumn at the beginning too, as she's really the only one like doing any real like investigative work on what this circus is, because they had something to do with the disappearance of their parents, and that's kind of the big mystery of the overall book. So I didn't love this issue as much as the first one. It wasn't quite as fun or whimsical as the first one, but it is necessary because like I said, it introduces us to the other season sisters. So now we've seen all four of them, and I think that, and we actually do see one of the members of this mysterious circus too. And they're very interesting. They do something very interesting that makes me want to know more about them. I don't know if they're going to be like a main one of the main characters, like main antagonists or what. But it seems like things are, now that we've met the other sisters, things can really get going. So a necessary issue, even though I didn't quite love it as much as the first one, but it makes me want to see it really makes me want to see what's happening, because some bad things are coming, and Spring can't get her sisters out of the way of it.
Spring can't come soon enough.
That's right. That's right. So if you like the first issue, definitely read this one to to round out kind of the setup of this big story, and then I think things are going to really get going in the third issue.
I'm excited when they get to like the circus
Right.
proper.
Yeah. And that hasn't happened yet, but this was, like I said, a necessary issue because we meet the other two sisters, and that character in the circus also does something that's necessary to eventually get all the pieces in place so that we can then tell this big story. So it's a good issue. If you like the first one, get this. So that's our A cover right there, and we have this 1 in 25 Ramon Perez variant that we're selling for $44.99, and that is a great shot of all four sisters right there. That's autumn, that's winter, that's summer and spring right there.
Next up, I've got another entry in our J. Michael Straczynski presents. Can you believe these two people are hanging out?
I want that to be the title so bad. I mean, yeah, we have all these manga that the titles are just like 4 lines long. That would be a great title for this.
Can you believe this patriotic hero and this Norse god both enter a fight and they're both level 99?
As a slime.
As a slime. This is our next one shot, just like the Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon. We're going to be getting the Nick Fury Fing Fang Foom. This one is Captain America and Volstagg, which is really interesting. Not Thor, not, Loki. It's Volstagg.
Not the other Warriors 3.
Yeah. This is, the art in this one is by Bernard Chang.
And it's good art, too. I liked it.
It's really good art. I would like to see Bernard Chang on a Captain America one, just ongoing. So in this, I don't want to give away too much because it is kind of fun to discover it as you go. But Captain America gets transported to Valhalla, not on his accord. He's kind of in the middle of doing something, some heroics, and he just winds up in Valhalla. And of course, he assumes, oh, Thor must have called me here. But no, it was Volstagg that called him here. Now, Steve Rogers does get a nice suit of Asgardian armor, which is kind of like, I mean, he probably could have done this whole thing in his regular suit, but it's always cool to get some armor.
Oh, there was a reason that he wore that though at the end. Yeah, there's a reason for it.
But he didn't question it at the time. He was like, okay, I'll just
all right,
clothes.
you went in Rome.
Volstagg basically tells Captain America, hey, there's this planet that I've been visiting. It's kind of a peaceful planet. I've almost got the sense that he's kind of not their god, like they worship him, but he's kind of
their protector.
Their protector, yeah. But this planet has been attacked by this warlike race, and it's entered in this really massive battle that he kind of comes back to periodically to help out in, and that he's found someone there that it sounds almost less like love, and it's almost like this like soulmate, someone that he really connects with there. And he doesn't want he didn't ask the Warriors 3 because he's been keeping this a secret so long, and part of it does feel like he always kind of felt like the goofy one. He wasn't like the serious one, he wasn't the handsome one. And he wants something that he's kind of the hero of.
It makes me think of a boy band. You always have the tough one and the young one and the main one, and
and then there's Kevin.
Right.
And so he gets Captain America also because he says, like, I've been, helping them so long that the enemy's actually learning all of my strategies, but they don't know yours, and you're a really good strategist, so I want you to come in there and help me. So that's kind of the basis of this, is they're going to team up to help these people fight. But it's actually got some pretty big emotional arcs in it, as well as Volstagg's relationship kind of with himself and his role, his relationship with the rest of Asgard, which I thought was interesting. And his relationship with this planet, and in particular this one person on the planet, and maybe why he can't be with them is all. There's some really nice emotional beats in this. I probably didn't like it as much as the Rocket Raccoon Doctor Doom, because I just thought there's a lot of really meaty dialogue in that and everything. But this was a good one-shot story. I could almost imagine this being in a run of Thor or Captain America. You would have this one-off story. But yeah, really well done. It's beautiful art, and I did think there is something that's brought up at the end of why maybe Volstagg talks a different way.
Right, that was cool,
not as Shakespearean as the others, and that's a really fun scene. But overall, I really like this one. I think I mean, I thought at first when they announced these, it's like it's kind of weird, like it could be fun. But now I am more and more with each issue looking forward to the
Yeah.
next one because Straczynski's got just a great way of writing.
Is the next one Nick Fury and Fin
Yeah,
Fang Foom? That's what I'm looking
I'm
forward
really
to. Yeah.
excited about that one. So yeah, another great issue. Great Terry Dodson A cover there, and we've got some variants for it. So we've got the animated style variant, the Mark Brooks, and we also have your Bernard Chang, which that is your interior
Yep.
artist, and that motorcycle also plays a part.
I was gonna say Bernard Chang loves him some Captain America on a motorcycle.
Yes.
Yeah, great art. I liked it a lot. All right, so next up, I've got Green Lantern number 20. This one is really cool. So this goes back and forth between two different stories. One of those stories being Hal Jordan going to a planet called Altion X to deal with a being there, a character there named Erastus, who exhibits an extreme amount of rage because again the emotional spectrum is broken because all of the power batteries have been destroyed except for the green one. So really anybody across the galaxy who exhibits an extreme amount of one of those emotions could power up and like sort of lose control of these powers. And so this character Erastus does that with rage because he makes a sword for his boss and his boss doesn't pay him for it. His wife treats him like garbage. He gets pushed around by some thugs. And he's had enough. He's had a really bad day. He's like Michael Douglas in Falling Down, and he just like this rage comes up. So Hal Jordan goes to this planet to deal with that. Meanwhile, Kyle and Superboy and Odyssey from last issue, they travel to the source wall, and there's one structure there that's artificial. And that structure is housing this orb, which is like a portable source, um, which is like portable source energy. And they are going there to get that because that's also what Sorrow wants to build his own lantern. He needs that. So they're trying to get there first.
Kind of raw material.
Yeah, right. And that sequence was a lot of fun because it's done a lot in the style of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And like it's the way Kyle goes about it is really cool. The way and the way Superboy isn't worried about traps there is really cool. Like it's really fun.
Yeah, it's Connor Kent Superboy,
Right.
Like clone Superboy.
Oh, you know what? I've written John instead of Con. My bad. It's Connor Kent.
It's
Yeah.
Connor Kent. Yeah, classic Superboy.
I mean, I knew it was Connor Kent, but I have John. Yeah, so it's
John
yeah,
Kent.
yeah, it's true Superboy. Connor Kent, and that whole sequence of them going in and like, oh, there's gonna be lots of traps. We better be careful. But if you've got Superboy and Green Lantern, how careful do you have to be? So yeah, that whole thing was cool too. So yeah, it just goes back and forth between those two stories. The bit with Hal, there's some good action. He uses some constructs to armor up and fight this guy who is enraged with red energy. Just a really solid, super fun issue of Green Lantern. I just wanted to tell you about it. There's our A cover right here. And we have this really nice Steven Segovia variant. I like that one a lot. And there's a 1 in 25 Michael Allred variant that we're selling for $12.99. Kyle Rayner fans, you've been hungry for a long time. You're going to eat good with this issue.
Well, good, because I'm a big Kyle
Yeah.
Rayner fan. Okay, next up, a new number one. This is Pop Kill number one by Jimmy Palmiotti and Dave Johnson with art by Juan Santa Cruz. This is really cool. So, the backstory of this, originally it was a Kickstarter book that came out in 2020. I got it back then, but I'm so glad Mad Cave is putting it out so the public can experience it because it is so much fun. So, this is a book about a rivalry between two cola brands, Popso and Fizz One. And they are two competing soda brands with the heads of these soda brands are former Siamese twins. They used to be connected, they got separated, and they just completely hate each other.
Does that ever come up in the story? Because it wasn't even mentioned here. I mean, you can see something, but it wasn't ever brought up.
I think it is mentioned at some point in the series.
Like if I hadn't read that in the solicitation, I wouldn't have known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a fun little extra just twist on the story that makes it unique. But so they hate each other, and they are constantly trying to ruin the other's company, but like not in fun, wacky ways. Like they are violent. They are like all out. They want to see the other one suffer. and we meet kind of our main character in this, whose name is John Pyle, and he is very much a James Bond, but almost more of like the Ian Fleming novel version. Like he's charming and stuff, but also he's just kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
Like you don't really love him in this.
Yeah.
He's a ladies' man. He's kind of like he's got a certain swagger to him. But he is when we first meet him, he is like sabotaging the other's cola brand. He works for Fizz One for most of this. But he's about to kind of retire. Like he's made a lot of money off of these warring brands. But when the Fizz One learns that the other company has a scientist who is just on the breakthrough of a new something they can do with the colas that are going to make them like leap ahead in sales, they hire John Pyle one last time for one last mission, like
Yep.
classic idea, to get to that scientist who created this formula and get it back pretty much by any means necessary. And of course, he is going to try and uh, the scientist is a very pretty lady named Dinah Deluxe, and he is going to try to schmooze his way into it, and if not, he may have to get rid of her permanently. But yeah, this is Bond meets kind of brand wars,
Mhm.
and but more adult. It's more violent and more maturity all the way around in this.
Yeah, this is like straight up spy espionage, violence, all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff, but it's all centered around two soda companies
yeah,
that want to outdo each other, which is hilarious.
yeah,
Because I mean that sound you would think like, oh, two soda brands, what do they do? Like squirt each other with different sodas and make them up? No, there's like gunplay and espionage
yeah.
and
Drilling into the other's pipes and putting chemicals in the soda to make them
yeah.
look bad when they go out. And
Yeah, so it's really cool that like this is an actual legit espionage story, but there's soda at the root of all
yeah,
of it.
you see how John like strategizes and like make sure he shows up at the right place at the right
Yep.
time to meet someone to make sure that it all goes according to plan. Like he's really good at his job. So if you like that very like spy espionage, but with like it's just got the thin layer, the thin frosted layer on top of like tongue in cheek,
Yeah.
then you will really like this. The dog plays a part in it. This is your scientist right here, Dinah Deluxe. Just so much fun. I forget how many issues it ends up being, three or
I think it's
four.
4, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, it is great, and that's John on the cover, not the dog there. But the dog is really cute too. But there is your A cover by Dave Johnson, who is one of the writers of it. We've got a couple of variants as well. So we have the Dan Panosian variant. We've got a Brian Stelfreeze polybag variant, and I'll let you guess as to what is underneath it.
It's probably a cute cover of the dog.
It's probably a cute cover of the
Yeah.
dog and nothing that you would we were your
Nothing
parents
salacious, yeah.
would find under your mattress. And then we also have a 1 in 10 Amanda Connor cover. We're selling for $9.99. But highly recommended if you just want a fun comic.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
fun,
it's different for sure.
actiony,
Yeah.
and everything.
Different in a good way.
Yeah.
All right, next up, I've got X-Men number 12. And guys, I really enjoyed this because I'm going to go out on a limb and say this feels like a 90s X-Men book. This is really cool. So, last issue, these aliens showed up on Earth, and it looked like they were chasing Corsair, but actually they came to Earth looking for Cyclops. And we learned in this issue why they are after him. But Alpha Flight shows up to help rescue Cyclops from the clutches of the alien abductors. And guys, what's awesome about this is the X-Men and Alpha Flight do not fight each other.
They don't immediately see each other.
No, they actually team up. Marvel heroes team up. We haven't seen that in forever. They team up to fight the bad guy, which has never happened in like 2 decades. And it's action packed. Like this entire issue is full of action. The Alpha Flight does some really cool stuff. Vindicator and Guardian do some really cool things to try to break out Cyclops. The artwork is fantastic. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all there's. Now I will say that this is kind of the second of a two-part story with these aliens. That kind of gets wrapped up here because the next part is I don't remember which part, but it's the X-Men's part of the X-Manhunt storyline. So that's where that's what the next part of that'll be. But it's just cool seeing the X-Men and Alpha Flight work together, and even at the end, Cyclops is like, hey, because Alpha Flight from the miniseries from last year during the Fall of X stuff, Alpha Flight helped out some mutants, and they got in trouble for it, and they got thrown in prison for doing that. And Cyclops even approaches Guardian and says, "Hey man, you really helped us out. Say the word, and we will break you out."
Wow.
And Guardian's like, "Nah, we can't. That would look bad. We're gonna prove that we're wrongfully imprisoned, that kind of thing." So that's not really a spoiler, but I just wanted to tell you, like, that's the kind of camaraderie that these two teams have all throughout this book. It's great. Magic gets some great moments in this. It's really cool. This was just a ton. This has been like a really fun classic X-Men comic, and I really loved it. And this is our only cover that we have, the A cover.
Well, another really fun comic is Superman number 23. Now, this is also wrapping up a story arc for the most part that has been this time trapper doomsday story that's been going on. Um, and let me just say, this is a pretty heavy issue. Not that it's not like depressing or anything, but like it feels like the stakes are so high in this. So, we saw in the previous one that Time Trapper stopped time and made kind of the same offer that he made to Superman before early on in the series, makes the same offer to Lois Lane about kind of one of those classic unlimited power
Mm-hmm.
type, if you just work with me, we could be unstoppable type thing. So that part's really interesting. But in this, you still have the fight between Superman and Doomsday, and Supergirl's there. Lex Luthor is involved, but the big thing about this is kind of not the fallout from it, but that everyone involved in this storyline is going to walk away with some kind of scar from this. So you've got Lex, you've got Lois, you've got Clark, you've got Kara, you've got Jimmy Olsen, you've got his girlfriend Silver Banshee, Shaban. Uh, we've got everyone who's kind of involved in the story. Um, Stuff happens that definitely makes, even when there's a quote unquote victory in it, um, it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
No one feels good about anything that just happened, and maybe even if Doomsday does come back in the future, it could be even worse than this time. So I thought that was all so well done, super interesting. Plus, there's a surprising end to this that does tie back to the DC All In special once again, showing you how important
Right. Yeah.
that All In special
Yeah.
was. It even kind of, I think it says like see DC All In special 2024 or whatever it is for that. So fantastic issue of Superman. Did you have any? You had some notes on this one as well. Do you have anything?
Um, Not a whole lot. Just it's Superman and the whole Superman family battling those aliens that came to get revenge for
Yeah,
on Doomsday. That was really cool. But no, that's pretty much it.
yeah, a great issue of Superman. And once again, looking forward to what's coming next. But this has been another high point of this already top tier book
Yeah.
with Dan Mora now on art duties and everything. I can't wait for what's next. So there is your A cover with Superman and the Time Trapper. We've got this, yeah, this is the Nathan Zerdy variant with Lois. We've got this Dan Panosian variant with Doomsday. And not starring any of these characters, this is the Kari Andrews Batman Hush variant.
Oh yeah, they're not Batman and Hush. They're not in this.
No, but it's on a Superman book.
Yeah. All right, next up, I've got Godzilla versus Chicago #1, and this is a one shot, but it's in a mini series called Godzilla versus America, where each issue is Godzilla trampling over a different American city, and
So it's one page of him
yeah,
just stomp. Okay, next.
and in this one, it's Chicago. Now, this actually features 4 different smaller stories from creators such as Mike Costa, Ryan Brown, Ezra C. Daniels, Tim Seeley, and Caroline Cash. My favorite of this was the first story from Mike Costa and Ryan Brown. Ryan Brown, who's your artist on 8 Billion Genies, and now Lucky Devils, Curse Words before those. So it looked really cool. It's about this. It's about this guy. He has a parachute and a big giant fan strapped to his back. He's one of those like I don't know, parasailers or whatever, but he can sort of move himself around in the air because he's got the parachute. And he calls himself Fanguli. And he loves to fly around town, and he's like a local hero. Everybody's like, "Hey, there's Fanguli." Until one day where he gets a little bit too close to the local football game, and the football hits him, and causes the local team to lose, and he becomes like a pariah. Like everybody in town hates him. So he gets a job as a janitor at the place where they keep Mechagodzilla. And he develops this plan that's very much like Syndrome from The Incredibles, where he's like, I'm going to attack the city with Mechagodzilla, but then I'm going to fly around and activate a self destruct, and it makes it look like I defeated him, and then everybody's going to love me again. Well, he didn't plan on Godzilla himself showing up to fight Mechagodzilla. And it's just a really funny story. And it's funny too because he never takes the fan off. So even when he's at work, is wearing like his janitor suit, but he still has the fan on. So like his suit is over the fan. And like it's that kind of ridiculous, but ridiculous in a really good, fun way. And then there's three other stories in here too, but that one was my favorite of just Fanguli, trying to make people in Chicago like him. And oh yeah, Godzilla's in it too. So really, really fun.
Did you
And
mention that like all the creators in each book are from the cities?
oh
So
no, yeah,
everyone who worked on this one is from Chicago or
yeah,
the area. I forgot what the next city
I can't
is,
remember. Yeah.
but yeah, it's taking creators from those cities to tell stories set in those
Yeah,
cities.
yeah. So a really cool story if you like Godzilla. A really cool book to get. And this is our only cover.
I like the idea also that they're just holding Mechagodzilla in Chicago,
Yeah, that he was just there.
not near the coast where you would fight Godzilla or
Yeah,
anything. It's just okay.
and it seems like he was easy to get into. He's like, I'm the janitor, which means I have the keys to the room that he's in. Like it was super easy.
Why not?
Yeah.
Not it's not on like constant
Right.
surveillance and
Right.
everything. Okay, next up I have a one shot. This is this year's Women of Marvel. This one is called Women of Marvel She Devils #1. And this one is kind of like how they've been doing the more recent um Marvel Voices books, where
Hmm.
instead of it being a bunch of different stories, it's all one story kind of told across different creators. So you've
Like
got
different chapters.
different
Yeah.
chapters, yeah. So in this one, you've got like people working on are like Stephanie Phillips, Allison Sampson, Kelsey Ramsey, and more. But it does feel maybe a little shorter than some of the previous ones. And in this, it starts in the Savage Land with Shanna the She Devil, which I love. Been getting so much great Savage Land stuff
Hmm.
lately that eating it up.
In multiple universes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there is like this demon that's in the Savage Land that gets awoken, and Shanna has to try and stop it before it can like claim a host. And it's kind of follows this storyline through her, and then we go to Laura Kinney and Bloodline and Elektra, and someone gets possessed by the demon, and it's kind of the story of all of them dealing with this. It's kind of more of a showcase of the different artists and everything as it goes along more than it's like this. The story is good, but it's not like, and we'll be seeing this
Yeah.
again. It's
Yeah.
just like, no, it's a one and done story, mostly focuses on the creators rather than the content, if that makes sense. But I thought it was good, and I love especially the opening part with Shanna. I really like that part. But yeah, so if you are a fan of some of those characters, not all those characters on the cover appear in here.
Hmm.
Let's see, Echo's not in that, Black Widow's not in this, but Shanna and Zabu are in this, which I really liked. So there is your A cover for that. We also have this really nice Rose Beige cover with Elektra. And we have a Peach Momoko with Laura Kinney Wolverine.
Next up, I've got Hellhunters #3, and this one was really cool, just like the other two were. The Hellhunters arrive at an American military camp in France, where Captain America currently is a set up camp, and they tell the commander of that camp about everything that's been going on with the Unhallowed Demons, which is the group of demons that they've been fighting against that just keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger because every time somebody dies, they can then make them part of their army, their big like Nazi demon army, and they asked the commander for help. But the commander barely believes him and says, "No, you can't have any more help, and you definitely cannot have Captain America because that's really what they want. Hey,
Yeah.
we need Cap's help." Commander says, "No, definitely not." But Bucky is also there, and it's again, this is set in World War II, so he's little Bucky. This is way before Winter Soldier, and Bucky actually ends up tagging along with them. And it's not too long before they run into another demon, and it's just like this big, gruesome demon that's made up of something. And it's
Mhm.
really, really cool. And what's funny is that the solicitation for this says that Cap doesn't join the Hellhunters because their methods are too ruthless for him. But that's not even close to accurate. That's not it at all. Like Captain America's like, "Tell me what's going on," and the commander's like, "No, that sounds like a bunch of
It's less of
gibberish."
Captain America's decision
Yeah,
than
it's not
it is.
Captain America's decision at all. But so there's not a lot of action in it, but there is a little bit at the end. And Ghost Rider 44 does some really cool stuff, and Bucky gets on his motorcycle, and Bucky's loving it. Bucky is like a big like action fiend. He jumps on the back of Ghost Rider's motorcycles, like shooting down the guys, and like it's really cool. And I think next issue is going to be really cool too.
It's gonna
Now
be
that
too when the next Thunderbolts issue comes
yeah,
out.
it's going to have Ghost Rider 44 and
See that reunion of Ghost Rider
oh
44
yeah, and
and
Winter
Winter
Soldier. I wonder if
Soldier.
they'll mention that.
They probably
I
should.
hope so because that would be awesome. So yeah, just really fun. This has just been a really fun kind of self-contained series. Like I said, it's a period piece. It's not concerned with anything else going on. None of the One World Under Doom stuff. It's just kind of telling its own story back in World War II, and it's been really cool seeing Logan. He does some cool stuff in this. He still isn't popping his claws. He's still using like these like big Bowie knives instead. But it's really cool to see him do that, and the what do they call him? Soldier Supreme and
Mhm.
Nick Fury. Like it's been really cool. I like it a lot. This is our A cover, and that's the only one we have.
Next up, just want to briefly mention that we got the Amazing Spider-Man 68 dot deaths. So this is one of your interstitial issues that focuses on something else. I don't want to spoil what happened in the previous issue of Amazing Spider-Man, but something pretty big happens in that, even though we know it's not going to last. So this issue contains no Spider-Man, which I wonder how many issues of Amazing Spider-Man in the history have not had Spider-Man in them at
I
all.
bet this series has had more than any other series.
Yeah. So this issue is by Christos Gage and the art is by Mark Buckingham, which I love seeing Mark Buckingham's art. I always go back to Fables as, he was an amazing artist for the majority of Fables. But this issue actually focuses on the X-Men who have come to help, and they kind of follow Juggernaut's lead because of all the Sidorak stuff going on. And since something that happened in the last issue, which I didn't even really notice too well in the last issue, but apparently this thing called the Blight went out and infected people in the city and the X-Men and everything that kind of turns everybody against each other.
Oh,
And
I
this,
do remember that from
yeah,
last
I
year.
remember
Yeah.
it
Uh huh.
vaguely in that, but
Because I think Cyclops just shoots Juggernaut all of a sudden
yeah,
last issue. I'm like, wait, what did he do that for? And then yeah, he's like possessed almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost like a possession
Yeah.
or a mind thing or something like that, but it doesn't affect Juggernaut. So most of this issue is Juggernaut fighting the X-Men, which there's some good shots. There's a cool two-page spread of Cyclops fighting Juggernaut that I thought was really cool. But there's no Spider-Man in this issue. You don't really need to read this one to fully get the whole eight death story. It's just some kind of bonus matter or what's going on over here to the side. So it could go either way if you want to pick this one up or not if you're currently reading Amazing Spider-Man. But we do know that the Eight Deaths is coming to a close soon, and this run of Amazing Spider-Man is coming to a close very, very soon. Just placed the orders for the new Amazing Spider-Man #1 today. So yeah, this is wrapping up very, very soon. So there you have your A cover.
I think it's wrapping up in March. Oh no, yeah, March. What was it? March 26th, I believe, is the last issue.
Because it's the week before #1
That's
comes
right, or
out.
whatever that last Wednesday is. I don't remember the day, but
And we have this really nice Vincentini cover, but this doesn't happen because Spider-Man does not.
not in
One,
it.
he doesn't wear that suit. Also, he's not in this issue, and he doesn't fight Juggernaut.
Hmm. All right, next I've got Fantastic Four number 29, and this has the One World Under Doom banner under it that you can see. In this one, Sue and Ben they take a day off and they travel to New York City to meet up with She-Hulk. So we get some cool She-Hulk in this, and they're just gonna have like they're out having lunch. It's a good day, but they don't get to rest for too long before they have to save this vampire family from a mob who's trying to kill them. Because again, after Blood Hunt, vampires are out and about, right? And they're immune to sunlight now, so they can actually be out during the daytime. And there's this big anti-vampire sentiment, and there's this mob of people trying to kill this vampire family, a husband, wife, and two kids. And so they have to try to, quell that. And then so they take this vampire family back to their home in Arizona, where Reed tries to find a cure or at least a treatment for the vampirism. But I'm not going to tell you what he does or how, if it's successful or not. I'll leave that up to you to read. But this does contribute a little bit to the One World Under Doom storyline, because one of Doom's big, like, platforms that I don't want to say that he ran on, because he didn't run, right? He just declared himself. But he's been very anti-vampire, and that's fueling a lot of prejudice against vampires. Even ones like the one in here, which are innocent. They're like eating pigeons and stuff so that they don't succumb to their bloodlust and go after humans. They're trying to do the right thing, but Doctor Doom is very anti-vampire, which is making a lot of other people very anti-vampire. And so even if I'm not sure like how much that might play into the overall story. So even if this doesn't contribute much to the One World Under Doom story, it definitely takes place during that era, though, because it's mentioned a lot in this that Doom is and even at the beginning, Sue is her inner monologue is like, this is kind of weird knowing that Doom has taken control of the world, but that a lot of things are actually still pretty normal. They're still sending the kids off to school, that kind of thing. So it's still very much in that era. They mention a lot of the state of the world right now. I just don't know if the main story is gonna pick up on any of this. But still really cool. I love Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm and Sue Storm are my two favorite members of the Fantastic Four. I love She-Hulk also, and all three of them together is great. So really like this one a lot. This is our A cover right here. And we have this Gist variant also.
Next up, just want to briefly mention that TVA number 3 comes out. And this one is really interesting because we follow up on the attack that happened on Mobius from the previous issue, which maybe looked like it was Loki that did it. And remember, this is kind of the crossover world between comics and the MCU. So this is the Mobius from the Loki TV show and all of that. Um, and someone from this kind of main team we have is blamed for that attack. So you have to find out who that is. But I think the more interesting thing is we've been hearing rumblings of the TVA has this lower level that's kind of not on any of the blueprints or whatever. It's not known about. And Gwen decides that she is going to investigate it. And what she finds there I'm not saying it one way or another because it's just a panel, but may have ramifications for the comic universe and the MCU. I don't know to be sure. It could be nothing next issue, it could be something, but it is a very intriguing final
Mm-hmm.
page that I had to show you and was like, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's
If this was that would mean this happened
right.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
so very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and this book has not shied away from touching on MCU related stuff as well as comic related stuff. So very cool in there. I just have the one cover to show.
Well, I've got Justice League Unlimited number 4, and this one's really cool too. The Justice League is still dealing with the magical fire that's raging throughout the Amazon rainforest, and it is a magical fire because they're having trouble putting it out. You would think, Superman can just blow it out, or Aquaman can make a bunch of water splash over, but this is like magical fire
Yeah.
that isn't affected by any of that stuff. So they actually, Mr. Terrific reaches out to Alec Holland's daughter for help because she has a connection to the Green, and Swamp Thing has been basically decimated, and they need to try to find a way to rescue him to do all this stuff. So Alec Holland's, what's her name? I don't remember her name either, but she and Aquaman end up going into the Green to try to save Swamp Thing. But there's something in there as well that they're going to have to deal with. So, for Swamp Thing fans of the Green and that kind of stuff, like that's a lot of what this is. Plus, other members of the Justice League have basically shifted to let's try to save people instead because we cannot put this fire out. We need help.
Teffy Holland.
Teffy, okay, yeah. So yeah, beautiful artwork, lots of different characters in this. There's some really cool stuff, especially with the Green and Aquaman. So yeah, really cool stuff
There's some
there.
cool stuff where you see kind of why the Justice League works and why when you put two members together,
Yeah,
the cool things they can pull off
yeah.
together and everything. And this also kind of wraps up at least this portion of the Inferno story.
Well, I mean, there's Inferno's still. I think next issue we're gonna learn who Inferno is.
It kind of wraps up the Amazon is on fire
Right. Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Yeah. But the looming threat of Inferno is still out there for sure. So they're gonna deal with that probably in the next couple issues. I
And
think.
there's a follow up with what's going on with Martian Manhunter.
That's right. Yeah, a little bit of that too, which is really cool. So we have our A cover right there, and we have this Christian Ward variant, and we have this 1 in 25 Fico Ocio variant that we're selling for
I
$18.99.
think it's a wraparound.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah, it looks like it because Superman's cut off right there. And then we have this 1 in 50 Gavin Guitry variant that we're selling for $29.99. That's funny. We have two different like group shots kind of doing the same thing. But
Very different styles.
yeah.
Real quick, said that for the last few, but even quicker, Rogue Savage Lane #2 comes out. I did not get a chance to read this as in depth as I wanted. I did skim through it. I love the art in this. Still seems a lot of fun with Magneto and Rogue working together, and they're also looking for Kazar because all the crazy stuff going on in the Savage Land. They figure he may know what's going on. So you'll have to read it to find out. But there's some almost like Lovecraftian stuff that's going on in here as well that I thought was really cool. But like always, we got some great covers. So we've got this Kari Andrews A cover. We've got the J. Scott Campbell cover. And we've got the Amanda Connor cover. And I also wanted to mention that they did a second printing of #1 with the Adam Hughes cover that was foil, but now it's regular, and you can kind of see the background a little bit better in this with the dinosaurs and all that. So if you missed #1 or you collect all the covers, whatever, don't miss out on this second printing.
Wait, the new one is it 2 or 3? Is the new one
2?
2? Okay, I thought I missed #2, but I guess not. All right, next I've got Kill Train #2. Just wanted to tell you real quick about this. Vanessa, who is our main character, she's the one who was just having a really bad day last issue, which got even worse when she got on the kill train. Well, she actually kind of rallies the troops on the train, the people who are still on the train who have not yet been killed. They try to make a plan to escape, and they determine that getting to the back of the train is their best course of action. But there is more than one killer on the train standing in their way, and they're gonna have to fight their way through them. And maybe it's successful, maybe it's not. But yeah, just if you like the first one, just wanted to let you know that issue #2 is out this week.
Also comes out is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #7. This kind of does start the next story arc now that the team has been reassembled. But it's not all great, as you learned in the last issue, that with all the turtles back together, there's still a lot of infighting. They learned that New York has basically been taken over by the Foot Clan. And in this one, they are like, okay, well, we're back in New York. They do kind of reestablish themselves in the sewers, but not of New York proper because it's not safe there. But even though they're together, they still think they each know what's best. And once again, they break apart and go try to do their own thing in the city. And of course, they all run into opposition.
Mm.
Plus, I'm still really interested in the stuff going on with Donnie and him thinking that this dead rat is Master Splinter.
Yeah.
There is some movement on that story front.
Okay,
It's not just he's crazy. There's more to it than that, but it's really good. Plus, April is in this issue as well. So another great issue all around of Ninja Turtles. I didn't get to read it as leisurely as I would like, so I can't wait to go back and reread this. But we've got our A cover right there. We also have this Sejic variant, which is really nice. I love the April on that cover. We've got I think this is the Kari Randolph cover. Great Donatello cover. Yeah. We also have our
I like this one too.
Ferreira cover. That's your interior artist. Man, he can draw that like emaciated Donnie
Yeah.
so
Oh,
well
yeah.
that he is so kind of disturbing to look at. We have this 1 in 10 Alpi variant we're selling for $5.99. We've got this 1 in 25. This is the Valdemar or Revis cover. We're selling for $18.99. And lastly, we've got this. Is this Mafu? Yeah, Gem Mafu cover. So 1 in 50, we're selling for $39.99.
Well, I don't have any more to go in depth on, but I did want to show you three more that I took home to read, but did not get a chance to read them, unfortunately. Iron Man #5 comes out this week, and this one does pretty heavily feature Riri Williams. We know she's getting her own series, or I think it may be a mini series soon. So she is heavily
There's
in
some
this
ads
one.
for it in some of the
Yeah.
books this week.
We've also got Metamorpho, the Element Man #3. So if you've been enjoying the first two, I did flip through this one, and it is a lot like what the cover looks like. So it looks like it's a lot of fun there. And then also one of my favorites, Detective Comics #1094. I was bummed out that I didn't get a chance to read this. I'll read it on Wednesday, but I do believe that in this one we find out the identity of whoever this villain, who I think we met last issue. I think we find out her identity. I'm pretty sure. I think it's pretty obvious who it is, but I don't know for sure. So I think we find that out too. But yeah, didn't get a chance to read them, but just wanted to let you know that those are out this week also.
I've got some rapid fire ones as well. First off, we have Sabretooth, The Dead Don't Talk #3. I've really enjoyed this series so far. And we got the kind of first cameo of this new Dragonfire character in the last one. She is in this one quite a bit more. And what is her relationship with Sabretooth? You'll have to read it to find out. But I can't wait to read this one as well because I've really enjoyed the series. There is a really nice variant for this one. I did not. Oh, this is the Diaz variant. You get a great look at her,
I like that cover.
costume. Uh, Also, one I did not get a chance to read, but I'm very much looking forward to is Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue #4. So we've got 2 more issues after this, but it does look like the tide is turning in the fight between her and Lady Shiva. So can't wait to read that one, and I love that cover. And then lastly, I have Ultimate X-Men #12, which it seems like this might be the issue before like the big throwdown against Shadow King, but I can't really tell. There's a lot going on in this
Yeah,
issue.
this book gets harder and harder for me to understand with every issue.
Yeah, but yeah. So if you're following Ultimate X-Men, we got that, and we have an incentive for that. This is the 1 in 25 Salvador LaRocca variant. We're selling for $16.99. And I believe that is it for this week's swath of books, and there is some fantastic ones. So don't miss out on Red Hulk. Don't miss out on Absolute Wonder Woman. On
Ultimate
Ultimate
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Please try to avoid spoilers on Ultimate
Yes.
Spider-Man. Oh, I don't want
It's-
anybody to see what happens before they see it in the book.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely water cooler worthy
Yep,
to talk about what happens in that one. But again, head over to infinityflux.net. Right now, you can go ahead and order these books. So when they are released on Wednesday, you are guaranteed to have your copy. So that's why we tell you while supplies last, go ahead and get that done. And yeah, super excited for this week's worth of books. Let us know in the comments which book you are most looking forward to reading because there's so many great options. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, all that good stuff. That way you don't miss out on any of our videos because we do this multiple times a week. And anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, well, that is it then. So again, thank you for watching, and until next time,
See ya.